Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to you. Welcome to Bayou Sports Talk here down in the Bayou of Louisiana, baby. I'm Kay, your moderator. Coach, holla at him.
It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boston community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. First and foremost, before we even get into the show, you know, King Ray couldn't be with us, so he's a little bit under the weather. So feel better, Raymond. We'll catch you on a rebound. Hopefully, you'll be back next week. And of course, Rude Dog, he'll be with me tomorrow on Live with Rude Dog. So, but for this particular episode of Bayou Sports Talk, y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. Shout out to Khalik. What's up, Khalik? And shout out to my brother Jared 11 Green. Shout out to y'all. Everybody sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Okay, guys, we have some great topics that's coming up. And also, what we're talking about, the passionate Southern University Jaguars, the upcoming schedule. So that's going to be some great topics. But, Coach, start us off. Let's talk about boxing. What do you have for us?
All right. Well, me, when it comes to sport of boxing, my three favorite fighters are the Bronze Bomber Deontay Wilder, uh, Devin the Dream Haney, Errol Spence Jr., and of course, I love the hometown guy, Regis Prograde. In his last fight, Devin the Dream Haney, he beat hometown guy Regis Prograde. They're two of my favorite fighters. So I really, as a boxing fan, you don't want to see two teams you really like play against each other. In this instance, it's two boxers. I really didn't want to see them go against each other. But for Devin the Dream Haney's next fight, it looks like more than likely he's going to fight AB, Adrian the Problem Broner, uh, because it seems as if in 140-pound division, 135-pound division, like nobody really wants to fight Devin the Dream Haney. He's that good. But it looks like AB, Adrian Broner, the Problem, he is going to be the next opponent for Regis Program. I mean, I'm sorry, not for Regis Program. I'm talking for Devin the Dream Haney. So it looks like it's going to be Adrian Broner and Devin the Dream Haney. Hopefully, they could bring that fight together. Of course, for the most part, all these other boxing promoters, they vanquish former legendary boxer Don King, but he's Adrian Broner's promoter. And in addition to that, of course, I met him in person. Bill Haney, who's Devin the Dream Haney's father. I met him at the LDBC meet and greet. So it looks like that's going to be the next fight. Hopefully, they can make it happen. I know the press conferences leading up to that fight are going to be major and going to be huge. So hopefully, this fight could come off because it seems as if all the fighters in the 140-pound division, they don't want no smoke with Devin the Dream Haney. So hopefully, this fight could come off. I've been a huge fan of AB. Hopefully he, like all the extracurricular stuff, he seems as if he has, a drinking problem. I think he has some type of trauma, whatever the case may be from his past. So whatever issues he has, hopefully they are resolved and he could get back to being the fighter he once was. I think the biggest issue with AB is more than anything in the ring, seems like since he lost to Marcos Maidana, he just doesn't let his hands go anymore. So hopefully we could get that fight and it'll be big in the sport of boxing. And not only that, but seem like, certain fighters, they really don't take care of their money like they should. So hopefully AB hopefully we get the fight between the two of these fighters. It's going to be a big, because they both stars. But more than anything, hopefully AB could save his money and hopefully he could get his life outside of the ring, squared away and all together. And shout out to the brother Jay Good. Shout out to you, bro.
All right, guys, we want to thank y'all for watching and tuning in. And so let's move on to our next topic. Ooh, the Southern University Jaguars, baby. Coach, tell me what you're thinking about the upcoming schedule for the football season 2024.
Well, this is my favorite topic of all the topics. Of course, I love all the topics, but this is definitely my favorite because, of course, we are diehard Southern University fans. Both you and I graduated from Southern University, and just at a glance, looking at the schedule, of course, we have a couple in-state PWIs on the schedule, but the issue with that is, they both play in the Southern Conference, and if our dad was still alive, of course, he would not like them playing against Nicholls State University. Of course, he wanted to go to he wanted to go to Southern, but our grandmother told him, like, hey, you better go to Nicholls because the bus passed right in front of where we are from. So that was the only reason why he didn't go to Southern. He went to Nicholls, and he was never a proponent of Southern playing against Nicholls because he felt like it really wasn't any benefit to Southern. If Southern played in Thibodeau, like, there were games, he brought us to, the family, and basically, like, we went to see Texas Southern play against Nicholls and Thibodeau, like, that same season. Of course, both you and I we were much younger, and we went to the game and we got like 50-yard line seats for like $5 a piece. But yet they played against Southern later on in that same season, and it was standing room only. Whereas for homecoming against Texas Southern, it was completely empty. John Gitry Stadium was completely empty. They played against Southern later on this season, and it was standing room only, and general admission seats were like $20. And I'm like, basically, it's $20 for the four of us. Now they play against Southern, and it's standing room only, and general admission is $20. So, Southern never really benefited from playing against Nicholls. And then at that time, of course, the season that Southern won Pete Richardson's first SWAC and first Black National Championship, like, literally, that was the only game Nicholls won that entire season. And that was the only game Southern lost that entire season. So in that particular instance, it was a double whammy. So, hopefully Southern could get by both McNeese State and Savannah State. McNeese State and Nicholls State. They play against Savannah State for the Pete Richardson Classic. And in addition to that, one thing that a lot of individuals pointed out, like, why Southern and Jackson State playing so early? Like, this is the biggest game from a attendance standpoint, in my opinion. I think probably in all the FCS because, Jackson State has led the FCS in attendance a lot of years. Southern has led the FCS in attendance multiple years. So I think when in terms of attendance, Southern and Jackson State are like, and people don't acknowledge this enough. That's the thing I can't stand. They both HBCUs, but in terms of attendance and on the FCS level, formerly known as the 1AA level, Southern and Jackson State are like the two big dogs, you know what I'm saying? So I don't, know why we don't get enough attention in terms of both Southern and Jackson State, but I think it's because we HBCUs. And, more than anything, the rest of the schedule was SWAC, but later on in the season, they play against the University of Arkansas. Of course, that's simply a money game at that point. But, hopefully Southern could win the SWAC West, win a SWAC championship, and eventually go on to the Celebration Bowl and win a Black National Championship. But the issue with Southern is, at this point, it's an arms race in the SWAC. Since Coach Willie Simmons, love FAMU, and Devin Rispress, the director of, coordinating, basically, like, FAMU is kind of, they kind of having issues retaining a lot of the high quality players they got in the transfer portal. So FAMU is struggling, but Bethune-Cookman, they got a lot of players in the portal. In terms of recruiting, Jackson State has done well. Alabama State. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, even Grambling, they did well in recruiting. Southern is going to need to step it up, if they want to be competitive, because basically the landscape of the SWAC is changing, and it's going to be imperative for Coach Terrence Graves and the Southern staff just to keep up and do a better job in terms of the recruiting. It seems like they're making some pretty good offers from a recruiting standpoint, but they're going to need to pick it up. But in terms of the schedule, I'm going to do a more in-depth video on the schedule, but in terms of like breaking the schedule down game by game. But I think more than anything, I think the SWAC schedule kind of takes care of itself. I think the major games to highlight is the PWI games with McNeese State, and Nickel State. And in addition to that, to the University of Arkansas is probably a money grab game more than anything. And in addition to that, in terms of like actual SWAC play, like they play Jackson State and Prairie View like extremely early in the schedule. So they don't have time when they get in SWAC play to kind of get their feet under them. Like they got to hit the ground running. They got to be ready to play.
Okay, well, I really hope, like you said, that they will hit the ground running and do what they do best. So, guys, let's talk about the NBA and the Pelicans. So much, so much. Coach, tell me your thoughts because who the Pelicans, if they use that je ne sais quoi they have, man, we could be awesome and amazing. Coach, talk about the NBA.
Well, more than anything, the Pelicans, they're kind of a roller coaster type team. They up and down, they up and down. The last game they played, they lost to the Phoenix Suns, 123 to 109. I think the biggest issue with the Pelicans at this point is they have to be more consistent. But more than anything, I think they need to, after the All-Star break, they need to kind of get things going. And I think once they get to the latter part of the NBA season, I'm thinking like maybe the end of February, going into March, in April, and when the playoffs start in April, they need to like be clicking on all cylinders. Hopefully they could get to about maybe the 6th spot, maybe the 5th spot, but more than anything in the first round of the playoffs. I think it's going to be imperative that they avoid the Denver Nuggets, they avoid the LA Clippers, and hopefully they could play against a team like maybe the Minnesota Timberwolves, um, maybe the Sacramento Kings. That's the matchup I want for the Pelicans in the first round. So hopefully they could do two things simultaneously. They could avoid the Clippers and the Nuggets, but they could also avoid the play-in tournament and play against the team in the first round like the Sacramento Kings or the Minnesota Timberwolves. To me, I think that'll be the ideal scenario for the Pelicans. I think they match up good with the Kings. They match up good with the Timberwolves, and they could get out the first round and they could really kind of start to get some swag, some mojo going.
Yeah, and it was upsetting to see that they lost yesterday with a big, not a huge loss, but it's a big enough gap where they lost.
Well, I mean, I think a team like the Phoenix Suns, I mean, Devin Booker had like, well, I think 52 in that particular game. In addition to that, I think KD had like 26. Bradley Beal really didn't do a whole lot. Uh, but more than anything, I mean, Booker went off. So, I mean, those things happen. But, hopefully they don't have to run up against a team like Phoenix in the first round. So if they could avoid a team like that also, I think I think they should be all right.
Well, guys, looking forward. Hopefully, we will see them doing better because on January the 23rd they do play the Utah Jazz. So hopefully we will win. Yeah, hopefully that is a another notch under our belt. So, well, moving on, the Saints. Coach, the NFL, and then we know right now that there's a game going on right now. We have the Ravens and the Texans. The Ravens, they're winning. Shout out to Lamar and the Ravens. No, nothing against the Texans. That's our neighbors. Shout out to them as well. But to see a young man doing so well in his field, that will be something great to see Lamar do. So, Coach, tell me what's your thoughts.
Well, first and foremost, in terms of the Saints, they, there's a lot of things they need to do in the off season. First and foremost, I was hoping they got rid of Dennis Allen as their head coach, but I knew once they got to 9-8, even though they didn't make the playoffs, I knew they were going to hold on to him. So, I think that's the biggest thing that they need. They need to get another head coach, in my estimation.
Yes, that was very
But
upsetting to
but,
hear.
but they held on to him. They held on to Derek Carr. Me personally, I think the thing that they're gonna need to do in terms of the off season I know they have a lot of holes that they need to fill, but I think first and foremost, the thing they really need to do is I think they need to get Jaden Daniels, somebody, a quarterback of his caliber, to be the heir apparent and be the future franchise quarterback. Because in my estimation, even though he played good down the stretch, I don't think Derek Carr is the answer. And I think in addition to that, I think they need to, right now they're over the cap. They already started restructuring uh, contracts so they could clear up more cap space. But I think more than anything, some of these overpriced veterans that they have, they just need to part ways with them and go in a different direction. And one last thing I want to point out, Jameis Winston took a lot of heat for the situation that we talked about last week, where at the end of the game, instead of just kneeling on it at the one, they got Jamal Williams a touchdown. It was more of a team decision. And instead of Dennis Allen like standing on his square as a head coach and backing his quarterback and his team, basically he threw Jameis and he threw the team under the bus. It kind of shows his lack of leadership as a head coach. But more than anything, you know, I mean, it just kind of speaks to him as a coach. That the players really don't respect him. So I think that's a big thing in itself. Now, in terms of the playoffs, I'm excited about the playoffs. Of course, the biggest issue with me is the team. One of the teams I picked to make it to the Super Bowl, they already was eliminated. The Philadelphia Eagles, they lost last week to the Bucks, so they're eliminated. Uh, so I picked the Ravens and the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl. Of course, that didn't work out the way I anticipated. Right now, of course, as you showed, the Ravens are beating the Texans. I think C.J. Stroud is a rookie. He's done a great job as a
Yes,
rookie
yes.
quarterback. So shout out to the Texans. They did real well. They say they have a real young team. Kind of like Raymond was saying last week. I think this is the blueprint that the Saints should follow in terms of going in a different direction with a lot of young players. They have a rookie quarterback. They have a lot of young pieces across the board in terms of the team. So I think they did it extremely well in that particular context. So of course I picked the Ravens to win over them. Picking the 49ers to beat the Packers. I'm picking the Detroit Lions to beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Buffalo Bills. And I think those teams are going to advance to their respective conference championships. So, it's an exciting time in the NFL. It's playoff time. Too bad the Saints aren't playing right now, but it kind of is what it is. But like I said, before I actually turn it back over to UK, shout out to Khalik. Shout out to my brother Jared 11 Green. Salute to you, bro. Uh, he said his Ravens looking good. Yes, they are. They playing a real good game against the Houston Texans. Shout out to the brother Jay Good again. Shout out to Khalik. And he said his team. So, but back to UK.
Okay, guys. Well, are there anything for the people that are watching, for our family, any closing remarks that you have for them, coach? And let everybody know, how can they follow you, how they can keep up to date on what you have going on as well. And as well as we have Ray and we have Rue Dog that we have as well, that is a part of the family. So go ahead, coach.
Well, first and foremost, in terms of myself, you can follow me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms. You can catch me there on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, but primarily you can find me here on YouTube. In addition to that, the second episode of the series, Southern University Top 5, you're going to have to see which position group I'm breaking down this time. So that should be dropping soon. Episode 2, SU Top 5. In addition to that, tomorrow, Rude Dog and I, we're going to have a little show live with Rude Dog. It's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. The only reason why the show was pushed back today because I had some other stuff going on. But we'll catch Rude Dog tomorrow. In addition to that, myself and my brother Jared 11 Green, we're gonna do his show, the Southern Baller Show with himself. He's the host. I'm his co-host. JB, twin. Also, more than likely, the brothers Brent Fox and brothers Joe Towns are more than likely they'll probably be on the show. But if not, we'll just go, with the three of us. Catch the Southern Baller Show tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. But even though this was like a brief, short edition of the show, and like I said again, shout out to King Ray, cousin Raymond. He a little under the weather. Hopefully he feels better. Rude Dog and I'll be on tomorrow. And like I said, keep your eyes peeled for the SU Top 5 series that I'm continuing. It's the second edition of it. So, hopefully y'all enjoyed the show. Appreciate everybody that stopped in to check us out. And throw it back to UK.
Okay, guys, please, if there are any topics that we did not cover or you want to hear us talk about, please put it in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, follow, whatever else there is to do, please do it. And our closing comment: persistence can change failure into extraordinary achievements. Marv Levy. Please, guys, please like us, follow us, subscribe, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Peace and blessings.